Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, in today's episode, I'm going to tell you about 14 ways to get free, inspirational, and helpful support to get unstuck in midlife. I'm also going to make a big announcement, so let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle with over 1 million downloads and counting. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again. So there are lots of ways to get coaching help from me. One way is to work together. I know you hear me talking about the opportunities to work with me as your coach, like privately with one of my Clarity and Purpose private coaching packages, or in my signature group coaching offer, the Women in the Middle Academy. And these are unbelievably amazing, and they're helping women make huge, important changes in their lives on the regular. And I try to include as many women as I can. Like I have some more episodes recorded, women who I've worked with, and that they've, they're sharing their results. It's amazing. And they're also sharing their experience, which is so inspirational. But working with me isn't the only way to get unstuck. Today, I want to tell you about all of the additional ways, the free ways, that we can connect directly and indirectly around the topic of midlife-related highs and lows at this age and stage. So in today's show, I'm going to share all the ways I can help you at some level at no extra cost. It's not the same as coaching together like a 6-month program, because those are situations where I get to know you really well. We have opportunities to follow up. Like it's such an incredible experience. It's not that type of thing, but it's still pretty good. And you can create some amazing results and have meaningful insights for sure. So I want to tell you about all of this free stuff I have available, just waiting for you one click away. And of course, this will all be pulled together here in this one podcast episode, and I've never done that before, and also in the summary notes. So that made me think, do you check the summary notes? Do you even know exactly what that means? They're an important part of the podcast experience because a lot of the time, maybe even most of the time, you're not taking notes when you're listening to an episode. I know what you're doing. You're walking the dog, you're driving, or maybe you're even in the bathroom. I listen to podcasts. I was just listening to one when I'm putting my makeup on and brushing my teeth and doing all that stuff. They have a summary episode. Each podcast show has a summary of the episode, and especially all of the links. So anything I've mentioned in the episode, there's a link there. So you don't have to take notes. You just got to make sure you go to the summary episode, and they are so easy to find. Just go to my website, www.susierosenstein.com, and click the podcast tab, and then look for this episode, which today is episode 284, or whatever podcast episode you're looking for. They are patiently waiting for you there. Let's get going on this totally fun list. Okay, number 1, the Women in the Middle podcast. I want to start off with the Women in the Middle show because it's really such a huge source of amazing midlife goodness. I launched it in July 2017, and as of this recording, there are 284 episodes and over 1.2 million downloads, actually very close to 1.3. So as you know, this podcast is about bringing an upbeat approach to the ups and downs of midlife. It's about coaching and guidance related to health, career boredom, happiness, mindset, empty nest, aging, like turning 50, turning 60, and life transition in general with a mix of guests, humor, and no nonsense. Well, except for the laughter and a bit of silliness. That kind of nonsense is approved. It's not all the time, but it's infused, and I can't help myself, and I hope that you like it. And I have a feeling if you're listening right now, you like that. I do get a lot of feedback that the tone of this podcast brings a lightness to a lot of the deep, heavy, loaded topics that we're dealing with. So that's the way it is. And I'm glad you like it, and I'm glad you're here. Now, the guests on the show have typically been stuck in midlife. They figured out what they really wanted, and they share how they got there and what they learned. It's very inspiring. Another note about the guests, I am really proud of the fact that the majority of the guests, not all, but the majority of them, I've got some kind of a personal connection with. Maybe I've met them along the way. They're one of my friends. There's somebody I studied with. It is really super fun and super rewarding for me to use my spidey sense when I'm hearing somebody's story. Because I'm asking questions all the time. I'm very curious, and I can sniff out a midlife transition story with my eyes closed in no time flat. And so if I hear something, I invite them on the show. And I am thinking about you all the time as the listener. I'm always like, oh my God, I totally have to introduce them to my listeners because this is a cool story. This is a cool person. This will be inspirational. So I really love that aspect of the show. Now, there's one more thing about the show that I don't know that I've ever talked about really, or I haven't in a long time. I have a really cool search feature on my website. And I want to let you know about this because I'm going to put a link in the show notes. You can basically search any term and be linked to the exact spot it was said in the podcast. It is very powerful and very fast. It's called Searchy, and you'll love it. So it's on my website on the right-hand column on a couple of the pages. And you just type in. So if you're looking for something about empty nest, you type in empty nest, and all of the episodes where I've said something, so it won't just be the episode, is the exact paragraph of speech with a hyperlink to the search word, and then it takes you to that exact spot in the podcast episode. So just always have that. Like if you can't even remember the gist of something I was talking about and you want to look it up, it's a great thing to know. Okay, number 2. Remember, here comes the announcement. Get ready. I'm launching a second podcast called The Real Women in the Middle. So number 2 is another free resource called The Real Women in the Middle. I'll be publishing a solo episode with more details soon, but I just couldn't resist telling you this now, at least a little bit. So here is the short version blurb of what's happening. So you've heard me mention that if you're a midlife woman 50 plus who's an entrepreneur, you're going to love this announcement. And that's because this new podcast is especially for you. I work with so many entrepreneurs, and as we all know, midlife can get in the way sometimes. It can really get in the way. It can mess up your plans. It can confuse things. It can create obstacles for you. And there's a lot of surprises. So the thing about midlife is that it doesn't just create the obstacles, it also creates the opportunities. But as an entrepreneur, it can get really confusing. So this new show, the Real Women in the Middle podcast, will be focused on what's really going on in midlife as an entrepreneur, not just after you get unstuck and through the midlife muck. The interviews, it'll be interview only. The interviews will be with women 50 plus who are successful entrepreneurs or business owners. We'll be talking specifically about the challenges for getting clarity about what you want when you grow older while running a successful business so that other midlife women in similar circumstances can also learn how to get unstuck and just have more conversation about what typically goes on in midlife and how it can impact your life as an entrepreneur or business owner. So we'll be focusing on what the experience is really like to be over 50 and running a business like this. Sounds good, right? I can't wait to give you an opportunity to both participate in this important conversation and also be inspired. You can go ahead and apply to be on the show. Just go to www.midlifeinterviews.com to learn more. And also, as I mentioned, I'll be talking about this in more detail in an upcoming episode of this podcast, Women in the Middle. But I just couldn't wait any longer. So if you think you're a good fit for this new podcast, please go ahead and apply. Number 3, Get Unstuck in Midlife Podcast Bundle. So this is a podcast bundle. It's a freebie for people who may not be listening to the podcast yet or are, but don't know where to start. So if you're listening now, this one might not be as relevant to you because you're listening. You know where to start. The podcast bundle will take you through the 12 most popular midlife funk busting episodes. So in the bundle, you're going to get the best tips to help you with empty nest, bad underwear, self-care, career change, feeling younger, having more fun, weight loss, getting unstuck, relationships, being happier, and more. All summarized in an email sent straight to your inbox. So just go to www.susierosenstein.com/podcast bundle with a hyphen in it. So, I don't think I'm going to emphasize the actual link on this episode because you're not going to remember a hyphen in between podcast and bundle. So I'm just going to say check the show notes to remind you going forward. Okay. Number 4, regret proof your vision board worksheet. As you know, vision boards can be fun and they can also be overwhelming. So here is help with your vision boards because I think they can be really valuable for you. So it's a free and powerful brainstorming template. It's a perfect way to get you to start thinking about what you want to create in your life on purpose. So it's a free download, a regret proof your vision board worksheet, and you will learn 7 easy steps to make a vision board that really works. So again, head over to the show notes and you'll catch the link there. Number 5, top 10 questions to reimagine your life after 50. It's a guide. So, if you're thinking, my life is kind of blah lately, and I know that so many of us use the word blah to describe the feeling that something's got to change. You're meant for more, but you don't know how to get there, that type of thing. So I pulled together 10 questions to help you get unstuck and to reimagine your life after 50. Why do you want to do that? Well, you're going to learn to be happier, you're going to create more confidence, and you're finally going to find yourself again. It is so common to go through a bit of an identity crisis in midlife, or, I like to call it a funk, but you're definitely off. So career malaise, emptiness, lack of self-care, all that kind of stuff can be frustrating and confusing. So you're going to learn to dig deep with this guide. You're going to find clues and you're going to get clarity about who you are and what you want in your next chapter. It's pretty great, right? Now, this one's easy to remember, so I'll give the link, but remember, you don't have to remember it. SusieRosenstein.com/10 questions. So just go on over there and you can download that guide. But be prepared to think, because these are prompts. They kind of work like journal prompts to get you to really explore what's going on. Okay, number 6, how to regret-proof your holidays. And it's also a guide. So a lot of times with holidays, and we've just been through this, you're worried about having regret about how everything went when you were spending time with family or that you had a lot of plans. So in this guide, you're going to learn a few simple steps to make sure that that doesn't happen and that you enjoy every minute. It's a free 3-step guide to regret-proof your holidays. It'll help you finally understand exactly how you can make sure that you're feeling great about all of the food, folks, and fun. So like I said, check the show notes for the link to get this freebie. Number 7, thought awareness in midlife worksheet. So it's a worksheet. Get ready. It's easy to get confused about what you're thinking and feeling when you're stuck. You hear people talking about managing your mind and the importance of trying to, figure out mindfulness and apply mindfulness techniques to your life. But what does that all really mean? So this worksheet is a great start. I've really broken it down step by step for you to manage your midlife mood better with this worksheet. You're going to see how to make the change you've been craving. And the thing is that you will have more control than you think. Head over to the show notes and you can grab that link there. Number 8, Passion Project 50. It's another worksheet, and it's perfect if you are the type of person who wishes you had a passion project. I hear this so often. I wish I had a passion project. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't even know how to have a passion project. Do I have a hobby? Does that count? I hear those questions all the time. So the idea with a passion project is really doing more of what you love in a very intentional way. So this is a great worksheet. I would say it might even be one of the most popular ones I have. I hear feedback about it all the time. You're going to learn simple steps to look at your past to find what has always made you happy. And a lot of times when we think about our past, if somebody says, tell me a little bit about who you are, you might start with some things that happened that didn't make you happy. Like, oh, my parents got divorced, or I lived someplace my whole life and then we had to move, or, something very difficult that happened. But this is different. This is an exploration of joyful moments and joyful times. And this will surprisingly give you a lot of insight into what may be missing in your life. You're going to start to understand why it's so important to prioritize your life to include that thing. And it all starts with your thought. So head over to the show notes and grab that worksheet if you've been looking for your passion for a while now. Okay, number 9, the Radical Amazement Worksheet. Now, this is perfect for you if you want to live with more awe and wonder. You can learn the simple steps to look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. This worksheet is inspired by somebody I learned a lot about when my kids were younger because they went to a school that emphasized his work, and his name is Abraham Joshua Heschel. And he introduced this concept of radical amazement, and I have applied it to the work we do here. So with this worksheet, you're going to see how fun and easy it is to live with the gratitude that comes from this amazing new perspective. And again, no surprise, it all starts with your thoughts. So check the show notes and you can grab that one. Number 10, the 12 obvious signs you're ready for an exciting change in midlife. Now, this is a free guide and it will help you do some things. Because when you're stuck, you're not thinking it's an obvious sign. Everything is a confusing bit of muck. So here, you're going to learn the top 12 obvious signs that you're ready for an exciting change. And boy, do I wish I had this kind of a thing when I was stuck for 5 years. You're going to learn why you're not doing what you really want to do. You're going to learn why it's important to think about what you want and finally make that exciting change. You're going to learn how to make sure that you take the next steps to regret-proof your life. So you're not going to learn the details, the gory details of all of it, but just understanding that it's kind of an obvious sign based on all of the women I've worked with since 2014. I think it'll be comforting for you to really appreciate that it's probably very common what you're experiencing right now if you're feeling stuck. Okay, number 11, 9 secrets to get unstuck in your 50s e-guide. You're going to love these powerful insights to help you get excited about your life again. So these 9 secrets might surprise you. They're about finding more happiness, becoming more confident, and finding joy again, what you're really looking for. And again, you might be surprised where these clues come from, and this guide will help you connect the dots to see how this awareness can help you grow. Awareness of the way you're thinking and about some of these secrets that I'm going to be presenting to you. So you can learn how to take small steps and make important changes in your life and keep moving forward in the most fulfilling of ways. You're going to love it. For any of these and all of these, head over to the show notes and grab the link. Number 12, the Get Unstuck mini training. If you want to get more perspective about what's really going on when you're stuck and you don't know what the heck you want in your next chapter, I totally get it. Remember, I was stuck for 5 years. That's why I made a short video mini training for you. In it, you'll discover what the secret sauce is to being happier and free as a woman in midlife, how to empower yourself to be the one with the answers to move yourself forward into your next chapter. You know, this point is really important to me because I was so shocked that I wasn't doing a good job of that. I really didn't believe that I could unstick myself. So I definitely wanted that included in this mini training. Another point is why trusting yourself is the key ingredient to regret-proofing your life, how to start creating the life that you want on purpose and with ease, and why it's critical to feel confident about the process of getting unstuck yourself. So it's an easy web address. Just head over to www.midlifevideo.com and you will get immediate access. Number 13, the Women in the Middle blog. Now, as a podcast listener, I don't know if you know that I have a blog. I've been blogging for years. There's about 160 or so blog posts just waiting for you on my website. I blog about all of the midlife stuff: empty nest, career angst, confidence, motivation, multitasking, self-care, relationships, doing hard things, having expectations that get in your way, planning or not planning, procrastinating, vision boards, friendships, and so on. All the things. You will love it. So just go to my website at SusieRosenstein.com and click the blog tab. There's a podcast tab and a blog tab, and it's just waiting for you there. And last but not least, number 14, the Women in the Middle community on Facebook. You can join a free Facebook group where we continue the podcast conversation. It's called the Women in the Middle Community, Regret Proofing 101 for Midlife Women. This group is about building a community around this podcast. There's lots of chances to engage, share, and have fun. We can connect in there if you want to connect with other midlife women, see what they're talking about. This is the place to do it. There you go, my friend. 14 amazing free resources to help you get unstuck and happier, because there is way more fun to be had. Grab whatever feels like a good fit for you. Tell your friends who are stuck and could use some help. I am here for you, and I hope that this list helps you really see that there are so many ways to start to think better and see where it gets you. You've got nothing to lose. These are great skills to have. All of this stuff emphasizes the mindfulness strategies, the importance of staying in the present moment, the importance of thought awareness, and managing your mind and emotions on purpose. You're learning to think on purpose. And this is a life skill that will absolutely change your life for good. Life is too short to waste time feeling stuck. That is so true. So let's do this together. Okay, that's it for this episode. As you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you get unstuck, clear, and excited about your life again. It's super important to learn to think on purpose. It changes everything for you. So ask yourself, are you ready to do this? Do you know how to do this? Do you need help doing this? Because if you're into it, so am I. If you are ready, I'm all in to help you do it. Seriously, if you're ready to change your life and learn the skills to unstick yourself with some masterful coaching, a top-notch curriculum, an infusion of creativity, and a warm, fun, and awesome community of like-minded women, let's talk about it. I would love to be able to help you get unstuck and be happier and more fulfilled than ever before. Just go ahead and book your momentum call at www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com and we'll chat. We'll see if working with me in the academy is a good idea, if it's a good fit for you. To be interviewed for the new podcast, The Real Women in the Middle, a show for women 50 plus who are entrepreneurs and business owners who feel stuck in midlife, head over to www.midlifeinterviews.com and go ahead and apply. For show notes and links, head over to www.susierosenstein.com and click the podcast tab and look for episode 284. Thanks so much for listening. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. I'm Susie Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you next week.